it's pretty awesome to see him get his first win.
Coach Gibbs has been a part of a lot of big moments in sports, but I would bet this ranks pretty high.
The first race all year, we've seen what we expect out of Kyle Larson.
Right.
This guy won the
This
championship and never won a race in the playoffs. And you look at the Chevrolets in general, it's about those processes and details.
Every little thing matters so much.
Welcome to Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour, presented by NASCAR and Fox. I'm Kevin Harvick. She's Kaitlyn Vincie, and our one and only
Mamba Smith.
Mr. Smith.
It's been a good weekend,
That's
ladies
it.
and gentlemen. It
It's
has
a great
been.
weekend.
Yeah.
You know, the Bristol was the fans at Bristol. I'm telling you, they really showed out, and the vibes were super high. We had a lot of closers came by the Ram display, wanted to talk about the show and what's going on
How
here.
great your segment is.
How great my segment is. You know, they
Give you
wanted
some
me-
ideas.
Yeah, give me some ideas.
Maybe to make your segment a little better.
No, not make it better. They just told me that to let you guys know that it is, in fact, their favorite
This
segment
is
of the show.
That's
he
good.
says this every week. I guess he truly hears
Self-proclaimed.
this every week.
I hear it every week. Come to the
That's good.
stage, you'll hear it too.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out maybe in Kansas. We have a lot to talk about, guys, as we leave Bristol Motor Speedway. Recapping that, Kansas, the 1.5 mile racetrack, is coming up next for the circuit, and you have your sips, this very special segment that he brags about daily.
Very special segment that I brag about daily, but it's for the closers. It's
for
their
the
segment.
closers.
They love it.
Yes, well, we all love it. And you know what else we love is when we get to come in here on Monday and talk about a first-time winner in the Cup Series.
It's rare.
And that is exactly what happened over the weekend. Ty Gibbs delivering in a big way. I could hear it in your voices in the booth. You guys were very impressed with what he did.
Well, you're not supposed to root for people
Right.
in the booth, but we were rooting for Ty Gibbs to get that first win. And you know, Clint and I have had a debate about this for about the last, well, it's into last year. And I think that the progression that Ty Gibbs and his team have had really with the last 10 or 12 weeks of last year, starting this season, they've had speed pretty much every week, qualified well,
true.
raced well. The thing I liked about what Ty did yesterday, got shuffled back at the beginning of the race, had one run where he got shuffled back again. Never had a meltdown on the radio, never had any issues. It was just back to business. And his words, you know, his crew chief, Tyler Allen, telling him, all right, let's look through the front window. What's happened. Let's keep moving forward. So it's pretty awesome to see him get his first win. And you know, you think back with everything that he's been through with his dad and the Gibbs family in general with you know, everything that they've had to deal with. And now to see that win come for them and everybody be there together. His
Right.
mom riding in the car to victory lane, and those two being able to celebrate that victory and have so many great memories of what it would have been like with Coy there, and all the things that they got to go through was a great moment for the Gibbs family.
It was a very heartfelt moment when he said, I wish my dad was here to see this. And the Gibbs family has been synonymous with this sport for a long time. Coach Gibbs has been a part of a lot of big moments in sports, but I would bet this ranks pretty high on the all-time list for him.
I gotta believe that this is probably top. I think that this is probably the top moment. I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion. He's won Daytona 500s, but I think watching Ty drive a cup car for the
Victory lane.
to victory lane, it was awesome. And how he did it, like,
Beat the best.
I mean, we're talking about Kyle Larson, last year's champion. We're talking about Ryan Blaney, who was in the Final Four when we had it almost perennial every year. Like, these two guys get it done all the time. And Ty, I thought the more impressive part wasn't the restart. Like, the final restart in overtime, that was great. But how he defended the win with like 10 to go, with those guys hounding him. I mean, he all but gave up the lead and then passed him back, right? So for Ty to get up on the wheel, do everything right when the lights were bright and the stage was the biggest, it was freaking awesome. And I've known Ty since he was like 12, racing late models, and that's the guy. Like, the kid is now a man, and that's the kid I remember.
It's very I have arrived vibes
for
from that.
sure.
And of course, it begs the question, Kevin, is this going to be a multi-win season for him, you think?
I think so. You just can't continuously run in the top 5 like that and not win. I mean, you can, but the odds of you winning more races when you are putting yourself in the front of the field like that are just like this week. It gives you an opportunity to pick the right strategy. It gives you an opportunity to make the move. And I think that, you look back to Bristol last year in the fall and him leading that race and getting to pit road a little too hot, locking up the tire, and then coming back this year at Bristol and closing the deal.
Redemption.
Yes, getting that redemption that he so deserved, from the previous Bristol race. I think for them, I think it's the potential is a multi-win season, and I think that right now he's arguably been one of the best 2 cars to start the season with Tyler Reddick. As far as week in and week out with everything that they've done from the consistency standpoint. So sky's the limit. Now it's all about managing the expectations, and the expectation is to win, but also making yourself do the things that you did to get to this point, right?
Yeah.
We talk so many times about winning your first race and not letting your guard down and continuously, trying to push things forward, not being comfortable that you just got your first win and letting your guard down and not being able to put that high level effort in that it takes to win these races every week.
Kevin did mention him, Tyler Allen. I'm so happy
Crew chief,
for the crew chief, because we all know who Chris Gabehart is. We all know how great he is at what he does. And that situation last year was kind of unheard of. There was a crew chief, and then there was a second. It was a weird situation, and I think this just reminds Tyler why he is the crew chief of the 54.
Right.
Like, there's a reason Ty chose you and Joe Gibbs chose you to captain this crew. And shout out to our boy Cheddar Bob. I love Cheddar.
Car chief.
Car chief, yeah. I mean, he has that DNA, that championship DNA that came from Rodney and Kevin in our 2014 championship group, and talking to him every week, he's like, we're getting there, the kids getting there, and now they did it. So I'm happy for everybody.
Well, I think the other thing to think about, back to his crew chief with Tyler Allen, putting Gabehart in that position last year on the pit box, and him not quitting or getting fired or any there's a number of ways that he could have just been gone, right? And absorbing that, learning, progressing in his career to be a better crew chief, a better leader, whatever happened in all those moments, he absorbed them. I mean, that's not an easy call at the end of that race, especially when your driver's like, I got to have track position, I'm staying out. I got to have track position, I'm staying out. And that's what Ty was saying on the radio. And, not overruling him and saying, okay, I think we need to come in and put 2 tires on, or, no, we need to put 4 tires on, whatever the scenario could have been right there. He went with his driver. And, they kind of made that bed together as far as what was going to happen, and in the end, it won him the race.
You can sense a lot of trust there already between the two. Big for the crew chief as well, getting his first win in the Cup Series. Awesome moment all around. So the driver that finished second was Ryan Blaney. Had a lot of speed, very fast car throughout the race. Driver did what he was supposed to do. He had some saves throughout the race, some interesting moments. The pit crew, once again, had some issues. And I know the team has expressed their loyalty to their guys, but at what point do you think they should start to look at maybe making a change?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, they had a pit stop there at the end of the race where they got him back out front and were able to maintain the lead. But he had 7 lap cars in between him and second place. So he had the lead and he had a big gap.
Buffer,
they had a decent pit stop. But, I mean, they don't have the speed, let alone the consistency that you're really seeing out of the Gibbs crews, the Hendrick crews on occasion.
They're the top tier crews.
But like you look this week, Joey Logano's crew was spectacular. Right. They had a great weekend on pit road, but the 12 team has been consistently not consistent on pit road with errors and slow pit stops. It's
a really tough deal, right? Because you're bringing really good race cars to the racetrack. Your driver is, I mean, he might be driving at the best that he's driven in his whole career right now. There's a lot of maturity, a lot of just leadership that he has exuded, I feel like, over the last few years, and it's all clicking for them. And now this one part isn't, right? It's kind of like your golf game, right? You get off the tee box, you can putt, but you can't get down the fairway. That feels like kind of what's going on with the Team Penske 12 car. And man, like, it helps that when the money stop was on that they didn't lose it, but like you still got to look at he had to come back from deep in the field twice. So like
they've lost him over 80 spots throughout the year, which is 30 more than anybody else.
It's unbelievable. And you know, I hate to just pile on with him and Clint's like, what would you do? I'm like, you don't want to know what I would do.
We know what you would do.
Exactly what he would do.
I'm hell on wheels when it comes to pit crews. So I'm definitely not the guy that they want talking about this particular scenario because I'm pro driver and pro fast pit stops.
Yeah.
So if your pit stops are not fast, you are paid to pit the car and they better be good.
That's fair. Yeah. So we'll have to see if there are any changes that may come down the line. One team that has to be very encouraged leaving Bristol is Tyler Reddick. That they have identified that the short track program needed to improve if he was going to, in fact, contend for a championship. Well, he finished fourth. He got a top five.
Well, he qualified up front, and they had a miscommunication on their pit road speed reading early in the race. And the first pit stop, he came into pit road with more lights on than he should have had on, and so he and his crew chief had a little bit of a miscommunication there as to what that setting needed to be after they saw what it was on the warm-up lap. So, but they talked through it and on the radio, and we were able to listen to all that, and Tyler just drove back to the front, and we've talked about it on this show, and that the 45 team had to get better on short tracks. Well, they're fine at Bristol. They're competitive at Bristol. Can't say the same thing for Martinsville, but it's definitely a step in the right direction for Tyler Reddick.
He said it was a very physical day from inside the race car and that he was going to take today off. We need to have Bob Pockers check if he did, in fact, take the day off.
I'm sure it was because he was complaining of like some brake shake too.
Yep.
So which
at one point they were cleaning out the brake ducts.
They are. That is the most intriguing part. If
Always
there's
them.
one thing that is such an outlier, it is that because it's always them. And it seems like not so much the 23. It seems like the 45 more so. And I just don't, or the 35 even. I just don't know what that is. It seems like it always works. Not always, but most of the time it's fine in the long run. But like there's always an issue that he comes on with like brake shake. And I don't. It's
at one point he's like, I can't drive it because of how bad it's shaking getting in the corners. So, but yeah, it is consistently a problem for them.
Can you explain like what that feels like real quick to
you mean
people,
like just sit here and just like
just like in the show them with your feet like because it's shaking through the brake pedal.
Yeah, well, basically what happens is that the brakes typically when they shake like that they get too cold, so you have to when you push on the brake pedal it pulsates in your foot. But when it's pulsating in your foot, it's also shaking in your hand. So it's definitely not comfortable as a driver, and typically you can't make it go away. But they obviously were in there working on the cooling of the 45 car, and it worked itself out. It seemed like at the end of the race.
It gives you a false read of what the car is doing too, because you don't know. Sometimes you don't know how free or how tight you are because there's a whole different situation.
And you can't manage the car with the brake pedal because you can't put more pressure on the car because you put more pressure on the car, it shakes harder. Yeah. And when it's shaking like that, you can't modulate the pressure. Yeah.
There you go. You wanted him to demonstrate, and there you have it. The driver that finished one spot better than Tyler Reddick was Kyle Larson. Swept the stages, picked up a lot of points. He's currently 6th in that playoff picture or postseason picture. What did you see out of the 5?
What I saw out of the 5 is exactly what we expect out of the 5. And that's the first race all year. We've seen what we expect out of Kyle Larson at a racetrack. We expect them to dominate, and he dominated the first part of the race. They caught up to him a little bit at the end of the race, and the circumstances of the way that everything worked out. 12 and 54 had a better car at the end of the race, but he took charge of the race right from the beginning. And we've been wondering if those weekends are there. And I interviewed Chase Elliott earlier in the weekend, and he talked about the struggles that they are having getting the balance right on these race cars. And honestly, he talked about Las Vegas, where we've had the least amount of changes with our cars from a rules standpoint with tires and diffusers and aero rules and things like that. So, we're going to Kansas next week where all that's going to be the same. So it'll be interesting to see if the same is as good as it was at Las Vegas for the Hendrick cars. But this is exactly what we expected out of Kyle Larson, and that's what we got. And, it's We've not seen one of those cars dominate a race like Kyle Larson did early on this week.
Yeah, I think if he didn't, everyone would be, the panic button wouldn't be hit, but you'd definitely be hovering over it because you need to stop the bleeding somewhere, and you're like, okay, if we're not good at places we know we're good at, now we're really in trouble, right? But the battle that Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson were putting on was awesome. I mean, Larson ran the O'Reilly's race as well, and that battle between him, Zilich, and Brent Cruz was just throwing sliders and just everything you want in a short track stock car race. It was a full contact
at the end.
race at the end. No, at the end. And
he dominated the rest of it.
Yeah, the rest. Yeah, it was like carbon copy. It was like the exact same thing. So Kyle Larson still knows how to drive cars.
Oh, yes.
Cliff Daniels still knows how to make them go fast. They're going to be just fine.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, the big thing about Kyle Larson being able to do that on Saturday and Sunday is, like you say, for his confidence is really good. Connor Zilich, same thing, right? Like winning the O'Reilly's race and being able to run up front. For him, it's a firm reminder that he can drive. Yeah. And he's struggling on Sundays to be able to put that car where it needs to be and know what he needs to put in his car, because Zilich quit practice early on Saturday saying his car was good, and it was not good. Right. So I still think he's searching for what he needs in the race car and what's right and wrong and how hard he can drive it and all the things that come with learning how to be a Cup driver.
A lot of stuff. Only 20 minutes of practice, KV, for those guys.
Yeah, Connor Zilich ended up 33rd on the day. Just a few spots in front of him was the Team Hendrick teammate to Kyle Larson, which is William Byron. This is pretty unusual. Qualified 34th. Was nowhere in the conversation all day. Similar to what we saw with Joey Logano at Darlington. What do you think happened there?
Well, and he still never led a lap at Bristol.
Yep, so that stat still stands.
The stat still stands, and it's there for a reason. And, you know, I think that look, I've been to Bristol and been lapped 5 times and have no reason come back to the shop and have no reason to understand why you got lapped 5 times in the Gen 7 car. It's going to happen. And they changed the steering rack before the race. Yep. That didn't fix anything. He got lapped early in the back of the pack and never really gathered any momentum throughout the whole day. So tough day for the 24 that we haven't seen out of that car in a long, long time. So that one definitely raises some eyebrows as to why they were that bad. But they aren't that good typically at Bristol compared to a lot of places that we go.
Yeah, he had a huge moment in qualifying that set him back, and then obviously they changed the steering rack, and you just would have thought that, he's going to they'll make some gains. Like I really expected him to early on in the race pick up some spots and at least not go down a lap that early. It just wasn't there for them. No. And it's obviously not a lack of effort, because I don't know how many guys work as hard as William Byron does at the craft. That's what he specializes in. That's why he's so good, is because he works so hard at it. So he's definitely that group is definitely looking forward to Kansas. Yeah. They're definitely looking forward to get to a place that they feel like they can control their own destiny a little bit more and have some success.
And I think the other thing, going back to Kyle Larson, you know, I know that he had a great weekend, but unfortunately he's still got to answer that winless streak question. Yeah. Now it's at 32.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're going to Kansas.
Yeah. And we're creeping in on, you know, he won at Kansas, but it's a little less than a year. Yeah. Since he's won a race, but we're getting close to a year since Kyle Larson has won a race. So that is something that I had to look a couple times a few weeks. Every week I look at it and go, are we sure?
This can't be right.
This guy won the championship and never won a race in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I hadn't put all that together, because you just assume and you see him race so much and lead and do all the things that he's done and champion. I hadn't put all the pieces together to realize that it's now been 32 races.
Yeah. It is a surprising stat. There's a number of drivers on pretty long winless streaks. Alex Bowman, his teammate at Hendrick Motorsports, also being one of them, came back finally from those vertigo symptoms he was experiencing, spoke candidly to the media about what all that was. It sounded like a very tough ordeal to go through. What kind of uphill battle is that for a driver, sitting out, coming back, and then having another tough result?
Well, it's great to have Alex Bowman back in the car. That's the ride that he had and earned to get to this point. And I think that you couldn't ask for a tougher racetrack to come back to.
No kidding.
Than Bristol with all the G's and all the heat. It was hot this weekend. Typically not that warm in the spring race at Bristol. So it's good to see him back in the car. But now we're back to analyzing the 48's performance, and it wasn't good. Throughout the weekend, they didn't really have any speed and wound up in an accident. And so, now they got to concentrate on, we've got the driver's health back where it needs to be. Now, what do we got to do to get this car back to where it needs to be solidly in the top 10? So that'll be the next tall task that they have to figure out.
Yeah, obviously he's been out for a handful of races, so points for him driver-wise is
not about points.
Yeah, that's
we got to win.
We got to.
If you're gonna keep your job, you're gonna have to win now.
Yeah, and I think if you look at it just from my perspective, they didn't put anybody else in it but Justin Allgaier. Obviously, Anthony Alfredo ran one, but Justin Allgaier became like the replacement driver for most of it. So when you look at that, reading kind of the tea leaves, it's like, okay, they're not trying to move on. They're not ready to move on. They still believe in Alex Bowman.
It seems that way.
It seems that way. And I think that obviously they got to win. They got to figure out whatever hasn't been meshing over the last few years. You got 20-something races to get this thing right and going into 2017.
I think that we're going to see a lot of dominoes start to fall early in the year this year. I don't think we're going to see what we saw last year as far as the drivers and minimal amount of changes and things happening. I think you're going to see some things happen as we start to get into the early part of summer, as far as who's going to drive what, who's going to move teams, who's going to do things. I think we're going to see things shake up more than we've seen for sure from last year.
Especially as the OEM conversation keeps getting heated up. Obviously, Ram is in the Truck Series, and you would expect the Stellantis group to make a move into the upper series at some point. So as those conversations keep circling, like, it changes the whole landscape.
Yeah, and that's going to be an uphill battle for Dodge.
It's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, I mean, with the way that those trucks have run, they've done okay with their Cup cars with no simulation and
Which
all
is
the
crazy.
things that they've been doing on the Cup side. But like, who are you going to get to drive them? Like, who? That's going to be a road to go down. Like, right now, we don't have anywhere to get engines.
Right.
If we're Dodge, and so going down the road of figuring out how to get an engine shop, and you're going to have to either make a big move, but I mean, who are the engine shops? You got Roush Yates, you've got TRD,
and then
Childress.
It's Childress and Hendrick. They're kind of like merged together.
Yeah.
So like,
and the only ones that have previously had engine shops is Penske.
Right.
But I mean, how do you resurrect you'd have to resurrect an engine shop.
Yeah.
And then you've got who else? I guess Roush at one time had their own engine program, but that's all.
I guess the Elmore engine group that has the Truck Series and ARCA engines. Maybe work something out.
Elmore's built engines for outside things before, but is that really going to be competitive as far as what you need? So I just look at it. It could be a very non-competitive road for Dodge to get started on the Cup Series in a big-time uphill battle.
Might be a summer silly season ahead with all of these developments taking place. You referenced the fact that Bowman got taken out. It was Shane Van Gisbergen was the result of this. Goes around, bunch of cars have to check up and get collected in the process, which SVG was showing a lot of strength. I feel like in the early portion of the season, but where do you feel like Trackhouse is at right now?
They're struggling. I mean, when you see Ross Chastain qualify sixth and get lapped, that really, you see SVG right here just back out from underneath it. We saw that with a lot of guys this weekend. The cars were just light in the back, and especially as the race ran on and the rubber got on the racetrack, we saw a lot of cars just have the back end slide out from underneath them. But in the end, I mean, like you said, SVG has been the best Trackhouse car
consistently.
It has not been. But look at the changes. Ross has got a new crew chief. You've got Connor
in the mix.
Now. He's got a new crew chief. We saw some changes within the organization that have happened, and right now it's just not. It's not clicking.
Yeah, that's a really tough. It's tough for Connor, obviously, because it's rookie year. It's going to be tough no matter what. It's tough for SVG because now he finally is going back to some places, and he's made some steps forward. Like, you can see the steps forward, but like the stuff it's not all there, and so you're really relying a lot on Ross to kind of
he's your gauge.
He's your gauge, and if the gauge is getting beat by the second, SVG. It's like, okay, then we're further back than we really think if SVG is our main horse right now. No disrespect to SVG, but like Ross should be that
on the ovals.
So yeah, on the ovals for sure. So they gotta roll up their sleeves and go to work.
Yeah, and the interesting part that I've heard Ross talk about in some of his interviews is the car will qualify okay and it'll take off good, but they're terrible on the long runs. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened to him at Bristol Heat. I mean, he would make that car fire off on the restarts by making bold moves, and he could hang in there for 20, 25 laps.
Yep.
And then it was just, all right, I'm fighting for my life here. And eventually he just got further and further back in the track position and wound up, where that car was actually capable of running.
You were talking about how loose or out of the track a lot of the cars were. Mm-hmm. I feel like I heard a couple of them talking about as the rubber was going down, the PJ1 was coming off, and it was kind of making it bumpy and very inconsistent for their feel. Do you think that had something to do with it?
Well, that's not abnormal there.
Yeah.
And I think as you run, the rubber will kind of get clumpy.
Yeah.
I think the thing that made the bottom groove not as good is the PJ1 traction compound did come off the racetrack, and you could really see that lighten up, especially where the left side tires would run. Mm-hmm. You could see that traction compound lighten up, and there's just not as much grip, right?
Yeah.
And so what was grippy at the beginning of the race, now you got to slow down for nothing to catch you as you're seeing a lot of with that SVG spin kind of slide out from underneath you. There's nothing to grab. There's nothing that the left side tires can grab as that traction compound wears off. So track definitely changed. We knew the track was going to change. We saw it on Saturday when the first session went out on the racetrack, rubbered up the racetrack fast when the track was cleaner. And then all of a sudden the clouds came in. Track temperature by the time we qualified, I think it was 115 degrees. When the first session started, it was 99 degrees track temp by the time we qualified. So these guys had their hands full.
I loved the fact that the tire compound, they didn't have a tire wear issue, but they had a heat. I won't even call this an issue, but the tire got hot and would lose grip, and everyone was struggling with that. So if you can give me a tire that has some fall off, but doesn't come apart like it was, but makes it hard to drive, that seems like a pretty good situation. So kudos, good to you.
Yeah, I wish we did have more wear and fall off. I think they all got hard to drive, but it seemed like they all got hard to drive at the same time.
At the same time, yeah.
And the variance in speed with the cars was minimal.
Yeah.
Especially like there were some laps where we were looking at the scoreboard and you'd see the 29th place car, Connor Zilic, because I know that we did this, would run like a 16:23 and the leader would run like a 16:29.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to, trying to figure out how to get more variance. But overall, the Bristol race was good.
I thought
it was good to watch.
Yeah.
The way that they had the racetrack prepared, kept the bottom hanging on long enough to where the top just didn't become dominant.
Yep.
And then they almost moved off the top a little bit because the cars were so light on their feet. They had to drive in straight and would actually not run right up against the wall and make that big arc on the exit of the corners like they have in the past. So it was an intriguing race.
It was an intriguing race. You guys have been talking about how drivers had their hands full. One of them was Kyle Busch with a big save on lap 378. He would eventually return a favor to old Mr. Riley Herbst.
Yeah.
But when you look at Richard Childress Racing, it has been a big struggle. Both Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch, their best finishes all year 12th. That's beyond that. They haven't done anything else. What do you think is contributing to the RCR struggles?
That's a great question. I mean, I don't know that answer because I'm not within the walls. I can tell you that the keys to this race car are details, right? Like it is how many details can you stack? And that starts from when you get the chassis in the shop to the body panels that go on the car. And so, I think that when you see some struggles like they're having, and you look at the Chevrolets in general, right? Like they've had a lot to work through with, as we watch Riley, the 35 car of Riley Herbst get into the back of Kyle Busch, spin him out right here off of turn 4. But this is all about details. And so if you're struggling, it's all about your processes and your details and your simulation and your tools and who's putting all that stuff into the simulator and what you're getting out of the simulator into the simulation and how you put those and adapt those things to the setup of the car and, how far your floor pans and splitters and body panels and all those things push to the thousandths of an inch. And if you're not getting that, it's about those processes and details that you're not stacking up.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception that because all these parts for these cars come from one place and like
nowhere
whatever,
close to the same,
that it's the same. It's like, no, brother. Like now, the sandbox went from being pretty big because you could do all these different things to now it's very small, and the details, every little thing matters so much. And if every little thing matters so much, you could be dead nuts on 3 or 4 things, but if you're messing up on like these other 3 or 4 things on this side, you don't know where you're really messing up at.
And I think one thing that I'd really love to see NASCAR just kind of sit and talk to the teams and consider is opening up on the short tracks and road courses some of these boxes. Like since we've gone to the simple diffuser and a smaller spoiler and things on the back of the car, like nose weight rules and wedge rules and some of the things that we have that. How could we open it up a little bit to give the teams a little more leeway to do some more things a little more freely on the short tracks and road courses? Because we've cut the spoiler off. We've gone from good diffuser to simple diffuser to, we've tried a lot of aero things. I wish that box could be a little bit bigger on some of the rules that we have from some of the things that we mandate with the car.
Yeah.
So before we move on to Kansas, I do want to mention a team we don't normally get to talk about that often, and that's Todd Gilliland.
Yeah, great call.
Yes.
Chris Lawson made a 2-tire call before this race. He had said this was one of his worst racetracks, but he got a 6th place effort out.
Yeah, well, they made a great call at the end of the race, and Todd did a great job keeping the car where it needed to be and got the most out of his days. So really the shining moment for Todd Gilliland and that 34 car this year. And that's good to see because we saw those moments shine several times as we've gone through the last couple of years, and we just hadn't seen it yet out of the 34. We've seen Zane Smith have some great moments.
Yeah, I want to shout out to, the front row group, like that, they've been around for a long time.
They really have.
They are Bob Jenkins and his group. They are a grinding bunch, and they have developed a lot of talent, like mechanics that have left there and gone to like Hendricks and Gibbs and other places. And Zane Smith, man, he was a guy that he won a lot in ARCA. He won a truck championship. He found a way to like get in some JRM stuff and just kind of stuck around. And then he thought, man, he's getting his big break at Trackhouse. And that was a freaking disaster for him. Like he thought it was going to be it. And then SVG came and then Connor came and he ended up being the odd man out real quick. Yeah. And for him to be able to land at a place that allows him to grow and get better at front row, that group is doing a good job, and kudos to Zane and Todd, and obviously Noah's over there too. He's got a little bit catch up to get to his teammates, but they're doing what they need to do.
Yeah, yep. Pep in the step as we head out to the Midwest, and we are headed to Kansas Speedway, the 1.5 mile racetrack next for the circuit. So let's talk about the teams to watch, but first maybe we'll discuss the fact that Kevin, our man, won there 3 times.
We did okay.
We did okay, he says. It was modesty. Okay. What makes it a tough place?
Well, it's one of our best 1.5 mile racetracks because of whatever happened with the banking and the asphalt and all the things that have become Kansas Speedway have made it great to race on, because from a driver standpoint, you have options. The tires wear out. You got to run up against the fence, but you can run the middle, you can run the bottom when you need to make a pass, and it just makes for really entertaining racing, and especially with the Gen 7 car and what it's developed into. So we've had some great races at Kansas. I think that the big key at Kansas is stay off the brake pedal and make sure your car will run the top of the racetrack comfortably, because there's a bump getting into one that you got to navigate getting through. Restarts are always wild at Kansas, so you got to make hay while you can make hay on the restarts. And I think it's going to be cool this weekend in Kansas. And I have to listen to Clint Boyer all weekend about how great Kansas is.
Yeah, his hometown
true.
guy.
I love Kansas. I love that track. I also think it's great that the track was there before anything else was there, and it's all been built up around the racetrack. Like when NASCAR, whatever we do shows up somewhere.
Were you born yet?
Was I born yet when the track was? When was the track built?
2001. We ran our first race.
Yeah, I was okay. Yeah, I was like 9.
Okay, 9.
Yeah,
because I went there for the first time before we had the first race at Kansas in 2001. I did the Winter Circle appearance there, and there was a racetrack a highway, and nothing else.
No Bass Pro Shops.
That's how much.
No.
That's how much the
casino.
racetrack has meant to that town. To be
cool.
able to build that area right there. They built it around the racetrack, and the casino right there in turn 2. That used to be Eric Stone Street's family farm.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Oh my, really?
That's right.
That's funny.
Kevin's
Did
got
not
some.
know that.
He knows some random nuggets.
I like
up
the
in
story time.
It's up some of the Grays. The Grays keep all
my.
those kind of
That's
stories.
right. I've learned that I have to pay more attention because Mike Joy always has great stories about certain places that we go. So Kansas Speedway, that it's built a whole city.
I bet the track. You know why the track is probably so great? Because when they build them, the asphalt is built off the ground around it. All that agriculture there, that good
soil.
ground, that good soil. Is
I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
The only thing I don't like about Kansas Speedway. Have you ever made a complete lap around the Kansas Speedway trying to figure out how to get on the highway?
Yes.
Yep. And
It is like a game of Tetris.
Oh my
trying to-
God!
You can't get there.
You
Yeah.
run right into the front grandstands,
Yes.
and you're like, shit, and you got to go back, and you go all the way back around to turn.
It is confusing.
lost
Yeah,
as
if you
hell.
get on that road down at the bottom around the racetrack,
you're
you
effed.
can't get onto the road that gets you onto the highway.
you
I
can
can't
see
tell-
it, but you
I'm
can't
like,
get there.
How do I get there? I don't know
so
how. You got to
funny.
go under the bridge and out and around.
The map just keeps redirecting, circling
So
around. Yeah,
funny.
Please
that's
turn
fun.
around.
Please turn around now.
I could see you driving Miss Daisy around there.
I knew you
Yeah.
would say something like that. Hey, I got rear-ended, by the way, you guys, the other day. Someone
What?
ran into me. Yeah, my
You got
car.
rear-ended?
I sure did. Yeah,
Wow.
I'm
We
not
need-
happy with that person.
We need to get
At
we
a
might-
stoplight or
No, just like just driving traffic, basically.
Oh.
He
We
said
might
he
need
was
to get-
trying to adjust his cat in the front seat.
his cat.
I don't want
Correct.
to. I don't want to ask what that means.
It was an
Yeah,
an-
this is
an
probably
animal, yeah.
not
I don't- yeah.
not an ideal
Nope.
conversation
I'm
for
not
us to
doing
get
it.
into.
I'm not doing it.
But yeah, so I actually got hit, and it wasn't my fault. For
Are you
once.
saying that you don't take your cat for rides in the car?
I don't have a cat? I'm allergic.
Oh, okay. How about you? You have a cat?
He does not.
Gato.
have a cat?
I got a gato. No, I don't.
No,
got a
you
gato.
don't have that?
No gato.
You have a dog?
He
I did.
did.
He passed away.
Maybe you should get another
last
dog.
week. It was honestly that was so traumatic. Like I don't know if I can love anything that much ever again.
I bet
That's
you
why.
can.
Well, I don't want to sound. I don't
Callous.
want to sound mean.
Okay, let's go
Never
back
mind.
to Kansas, you
Coming out of
guys.
this before Delana calls him and
Yeah.
yells at him.
He already forgot his wedding song, so we
Yeah.
don't need to.
Wow.
It's been 25 years. I can't remember.
While he's struggling, Kaitlyn just, I got you, and just shoves him in the water.
Yeah. Well, now we've got it on 2 shows. Thanks, Kaitlyn.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll
I'm sorry.
never hear the end of it.
One quick thing I want to note here very fast. Chevrolet has won the last 4 straight races at Kansas. Prior to that, it was 4 straight Toyotas. So who do you think are the teams to watch?
I think. I mean, right now you have to say the Toyotas.
Okay.
I mean, whether it's 2311 or Joe Gibbs Racing, you look back at Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell qualifying on the pole. I mean, it's. I know Kyle Larson will be good, but I just don't know that they can beat the Toyotas right now without circumstances happening. I don't think they're going to beat them on raw speed unless they found something over the off week on a 1.5 mile racetrack that we don't know about, which is perfectly possible because the Chevrolets have the most potential to get better, right? The Toyotas have been here, the Fords have been here working with the same cars and things that they've had. And the Chevrolets are going to, at some point, we think they're going to take a step and get their arms around this whole thing and get better.
Yeah.
So they are the only ones that have the most potential, but I don't see it right now.
This is the longest that Michael Jordan has gone this year without winning, so it's probably his time to go get another one.
Yeah. Okay, so votes of confidence there for the Toyota camp. Okay, it is time now for Mamba Smith's social sips. Sir.
Maybe we should just cut the rest
How
of the
was
show.
NASCAR Sundays, by the way?
Listen,
How was it?
closers. The closers showed up to that too.
That's good.
Were you able to go though? Because
Huh?
you were working, right?
Yeah, so I was working at Bristol, and then got done, drove down to Hopin, and there was 60-something people there. And
Is
we
this
were
in
rocking.
Charlotte?
In Charlotte, yeah.
So you did hospitality and drove home in time for the start of the race?
No, not the start. I got
Oh.
there for the last stage.
Did you make like a grand entrance? Did you film it?
I mean, I didn't film it, but when I showed up, they knew because I was thirsty. It was time to get going. It's been a
Did they
long
know
day.
you were there? Did you announce yourself there? Hey, I'm Mamba Smith. I'm here.
I didn't have to. My hat and my outfit pretty much
His
spoke for me.
persona
I got it.
speaks for itself.
It's called aura, Kev. When you
I got
step
you.
in, they know it. So
I call it flashy.
yeah,
ahead.
listen. Welcome to Mamba's Social Sips, your favorite part of the show. And we're going to start with the word of the week.
All right.
I like where it's at now. It's part of the social sips. Let's run it.
A lot of these guys are slip sliding around, as you see Logano right there. I think he just meant to rattle his cage, but kind of hit him harder than he expected down the straightaway again.
Just a little rattle the cage. You know what? It's how you say it. And I was shocked that Clint and Mike didn't there's no giggle or nothing.
It was, I missed it, to be honest.
The
It was
tell
so,
him. Yeah.
But it was like a rattle. It was a very iconic.
You made it
Earnhardt
too
thing to
easy
say.
again.
Well, I wasn't trying to make that. It was supposed to be kind of funny, and I guess it just landed flat.
No, it didn't. It was great.
you guys liked it?
He's too good at it now.
That was flat.
See, it's how he delivers it. Now,
Yeah.
now this week is going to be a
Yeah,
wild
you're
one.
gonna have to.
You only
you're
have
gonna
a few
to get-
left.
You're
I
gonna
know.
have to get. You're gonna have to get a little
Spicy.
spicier.
Speaking of spicy,
Yeah, as long as it's not talking about nuclear hot dogs, we'll be fine.
that's fine. Speaking of spicy, mi amigo,
Yes.
Daniel Suarez,
Oh,
Julia Piquet.
yeah.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
Julia Piquet. They announced that they're having a child here soon. So
It's
excited
exciting.
for them.
Congratulations.
They are two of the hardest working, nicest people. And I'm so happy for them. They're super great.
Great
Congratulations.
timing for them too, with the way that his car is running right now.
Yeah.
Seems comfortable with where he's at, and they'll make great parents.
Yes,
Yeah,
they will.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. That kid is going to be fun.
Yes.
He'll be a fun kid. A lot of spice.
Probably drive a Volkswagen.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, first car. So over the weekend, obviously we're in Bristol, but the Heritage Invitational at 1010s. Shout out to Mr. H, Marcus Smith, Graham Smith. That event
That
looked
venue is
so
amazing, too.
Cool.
Yeah.
And they had the IROC series racing. Kurt Busch won. He raced door to door against Jeff Gordon and Bobby Labonte. Kevin, how about this burnout with the
Well,
IROC
this is
car?
exactly why I don't loan my IROC cars out for other people to drive. I'd be mad
of
if
this
my
right
IROC
here.
car got treated like this. And honestly, I can't believe they race them like they do.
They raced
I
them,
look
raced
at mine,
them.
I'm like, don't scratch it. But that was a good burnout. I'm
pretty
not
good.
sure who owns the car.
I think it's Kurt's.
It's Kurt's
That
car.
was Kurt's car,
Okay,
yeah.
well, if
Haven't
it's
seen
his
it.
car, he can do whatever the hell he wants to.
Kurt Busch burnout in a while.
Yeah.
So
Kurt
that's
Busch
good.
That was a good
burnout.
one.
I also love the way those cars sound.
Oh yeah.
I miss that high pitch. I think
Yeah.
that's the way to. If we could change that on our car, on the Cup cars, I would. Love
I
that.
would vote for that.
Yeah, I would think
I
that.
think that there is definitely a way to make our cars sound better.
We could, yeah. I feel like it wouldn't be that hard either. One thing last year that we talked about on the super speedways, guys, especially coming out of Daytona 2, was how aggressive they were racing from the beginning because the way the stages were and the fuel situation. Because I'm tired of everyone talking about saving fuel. And I think we might be getting closer to adjusting that. So John Probst had was on the Holler Talk show that NASCAR has, and they talked about, you see here, Kelly Crandall, NASCAR's John Probst explained on Holler Talk that the stage lengths at Talladega will be altered to combat the fuel strategy. TBA on what the lengths were. This was last week when I saw this, and NASCAR is also looking to have a January test at Daytona to work on the other car changes.
I got first question.
Yep.
What is Holler Talk?
It's a podcast with Mike Ford.
Okay.
NASCAR Communications Group.
All right.
So what they do is they try to pull back the curtain a little bit, explain some of
Their
the things
decisions.
their decisions that happen, good
Oh,
and
that's
bad.
cool.
They actually do good and bad. So I give
I
them
like
credit
the
for that.
theory
for sure.
behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second
I love
question.
your sarcasm.
Yeah.
Do you have another question?
My
What are
second
the
question was,
stages?
what is this? Yeah. What is this test in January?
I haven't confirmed yet.
Okay.
But it sounds
Can
like
you work on that this week?
yeah, I'm gonna
All right.
because it sounds like a little bit what we used to call it preseason thunder. Feels a little preseason thunder-ish from
That would
back
be
in the
great.
day. I think that'd be a good idea.
Maybe we're getting the preseason Thunder back test session.
It feels like that.
Back to Daytona, media day, everything down there.
If we're gonna do
That'd
it, we
be
might as
cool.
well do it. Do it up.
Do it right.
Okay.
What's old is new again. Remember that whole thing?
He said,
So-
Hey, what's old was pretty popular, so
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
it. I like where we're headed. We've made a lot of great changes this year.
Yeah, this is a good one too. The
Yeah.
state trying to combat the fuel strategy situation at those tracks.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the drivers would
Welcome that.
would welcome a change to the super speedway stuff. It's so hard to race like they have to race and not get more of a reward for pushing, and so it'll be interesting to see where this all lands.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to all that. I need to give a couple shouts really quickly.
Very
to
quickly.
Big L.
Big L.
Big L was a closer that came out to the display this week. And then this guy, Steve, he was wearing
This guy, Steve.
This guy, Steve. No, listen, this guy, Steve, was wearing a Keselowski shirt. And I'm like, well, what do we got to do to get you to switch over to a Ram shirt? He goes, I wouldn't do it for $100,000 because we're giving away $100,000 at the end of this year when you register to do the Ram stuff. And Chris Rice was on stage. He's like, he's like, I'll do it if you give me a job. Chris is like, can you drive? Do you have a CDL? He goes, yep. He got his number right there on the spot. I think this guy's going to go work at Collie.
This guy, Steve.
This guy, Steve.
I have a random question for you.
Okay.
I knew you were working on something over there.
Give him time.
Do you know who this guy is?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
not.
Who is it?
He's like a comedian. He's great. He's funny on socials. I don't know his name, but he's funny on socials.
He's a comedian, like an influencer? Or?
Yeah,
He's a
kind of.
rapper.
Yeah.
Oh, rapper.
Rapper? There you go.
He's with your son.
He was.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's not Drewski. I wish it was Drewski.
No.
But
What's his name?
It was
Mexican OT.
the Mexican OT. That's right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is. I'm gonna let you guys know if you want to leave a voicemail. 805-317-4175. If you want to leave a mailbag question, harvickhappyhour4@gmail.com.
Here we go.
You just educated me on some
job.
pop culture,
Thanks.
It was
Kevin.
okay. You got some work to do this week, okay?
You're about to see some work you're gonna have to do, Kaitlyn.
Well, first we got to see the work of Ty Gibbs, his
Oh.
burnout, and grade it because it was quite good, I might add. Never forget your first, right?
That's right.
Isn't that what they say?
That is what they say.
Yeah.
I thought this was awesome.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was all tied
It's a
together.
fast pace too. I liked that.
Yeah.
The thing you got to understand about Ty Gibbs is he's a gasser. So like when he gets in these moments, he's going to be high-strung 23-year-old kid.
Yep.
And
The banking is hard there too.
The banking is hard. It didn't care about engines, didn't care about where we needed to run it next. I don't think anybody cared.
As they shouldn't.
No.
And this one-
Look, we had a good burnout. So I'm going to give it a B+.
Yeah, and like we always say, it's about the whole celebration and with his mom and driving
That
her to
part.
victory lane, and he
Well,
got
we hadn't got
her
that
the
far
flag.
yet. So I think that the style points go way up when you
Okay.
when you put mom on the right side.
Yeah.
That's what I
For your
mean,
victory
like-
lap, your
Yeah.
burnout would have been a B+. But I think when you put mom in the right side, we're probably going
A territory.
We're going at least an A.
Because also he jumped into the interview with his grandpa Joe Gibbs,
Which
and,
was awesome.
so the whole thing, bro, that thing
Yeah.
that's top of the board.
It's going to
right
be
now.
hard to top all the things on top of the burnout.
Yeah.
With all the style points. So we're gonna give it an A. That way we have some room in case we have to give somebody an A+.
I like
plus,
that.
yeah.
Good idea.
But
Good call.
the thing that I will say that I was most excited about is the fact that Joe Gibbs took the microphone from Jamie Little.
she couldn't get it
And
back.
she was like, you could see her like,
Try delicately.
it's
Like,
oh,
should
it's Joe
I
Gibbs.
or should I not?
I can't do it. And just to see Jamie Little uncomfortable makes me happy. I love that. That was my favorite part of the whole.
Yeah, she
the whole
posted
thing.
on social media. I was taught to never give up the
Yeah,
mic, but I
yeah.
thought for Coach Gibbs it was okay. Yeah, that was fine.
Coach Gibbs, Michael Jordan, those guys.
She
can do it.
lost that microphone, and I was laughing my ass off in the booth. I'm like, and she just couldn't quite figure out how to grab
How to
it.
get
Yep.
it back.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
got it back eventually.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you referenced the points, so let's take
I
a
did?
look right now at where we're at.
What
in
happened?
this- Well,
I didn't pick Denny Hamlin.
I'm leading.
Yes, you did.
I picked Ryan Blaney.
No, you did not.
Did you not listen to the pre-race?
No,
See,
that
this is
doesn't-
the
no,
problem.
no,
that
no.
we
Yeah.
have two separate picks taking place.
Here's the problem.
You
Tyler's gone. Producer's gone.
No,
so
no.
I mean, was anybody paying attention
no
who picked?
No, listen. Yes,
I hope not.
I picked 2 weeks ago. It was Denny Hamlin.
It was
Thank
Denny
you,
Hamlin.
Nabil.
I don't think so.
Listen, so here's the thing, Kev. You can
we have a document,
We have a document.
a running tally.
Here's the thing, Kev.
Look, you
can,
guys cheated last year. I'm trying to figure out how to cheat.
we didn't cheat.
I cheated last
You
year?
cheated.
How so?
Well, you got a mulligan.
yeah.
I gotta-
also,
oh,
if
'cause
you got to
yeah.
be better at it. If you want to win, you got to be better at it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in case you're in the dark, I'm leading 36 points for Ryan Blaney. Kevin picked up points for Hamlin, and he picked up 10 for the race winner of Ty Gibbs, which that might be one of the most impressive picks all
That
year.
was a bold pick.
Listen, here's the
Paid
other
off.
thing: is I picked that when I walked into the studio 2 weeks ago. I knew who I was picking
You
off
did.
the rip.
Good job out of you,
You're still
Mamba.
not in first.
No, but I'm beating your ass. That's all that matters.
Okay, well, we can have a chance to redeem ourselves here because we have to make picks for Kansas. So who would like to go first?
Well, Kevin's last, so he should probably go first.
You think I should go first?
Yeah, I want to give that to you.
Okay.
I feel like he and I have the same pick, but I
You
could
guys
be
do
wrong.
a lot. You only pick 3 people.
I think
Not true.
I'm going to step outside the box a little bit this week.
Oh, finally.
I'm going to pick Bubba Wallace.
That's a good
Oh,
pick.
okay. We don't have the same pick, but
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
you talked about the Toyotas, which I'm staying in that camp as well. Christopher Bell, 2nd and 3rd in the Kansas
He's gonna get the
races
pole.
last year.
He always
I
does.
think
Yeah.
he will be.
He's never won a race from the pole.
Yeah.
But anyway,
He's going to call the pole. And I like the Bubba Wallace one because I think it's redemption for him after Denny ran him into the fence at the end of last year.
You're picking the same?
No, of course not.
Oh.
I'm going with his teammate, Tyler Reddick.
Okay.
Because, I mean,
rolling.
honestly, rolling and where he ended up almost stealing the win at Bristol, I'm like, nah, they got it going
You were
on.
like, no way. Is he going to come up and win at Bristol?
Yeah, I was like, I love Tyler and Billy Scott and all that, but if he would have beat Ty, I would have been a little
There was a
disappointed.
moment right there where I'm like,
Yeah.
he's there.
I was like, oh shit. So Tyler Reddick, that's my pick.
There you go, guys. 3 solid picks. We'll see how they fare out in Kansas.
3 Toyotas.
So, this is a cool thing. 3 Toyotas. We want to mention our show, Kevin's show, was nominated for a Webby Award. So you guys can get in on the voting action. To vote, you go to vote.webbyawards.com, click on categories, select podcasts. After that, select limited series and specials, and click on interview or talk show, and vote for Harvick's Happy Hour.
There's a search box you can type in,
And that makes it a
the
little
name of the show,
easier.
and that will
Yeah.
bypass a lot of that.
There
Got
you
it.
go. So you referenced Chase Elliott earlier. That interview will air on Thursday. We look forward to that conversation.
That
with-
was a great conversation. And I can't wait. You got to listen to the end because, well, I assume it's at the end after it gets edited. But the fact that his story about racing with his dad was pretty cool.
That's dope.
nice.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk very
He
often
was
about
very
those
open,
things.
and
So
I was super pumped in how open he was and appreciative.
good job, Kevin. All right. We want the closers to subscribe on YouTube and follow us at Harvick Happy Pod as well. That's where you can find us on all the socials. Why are you grinning like that?
Because you almost messed. You got it.
No,
She
no.
had to say it because you forgot to.
I didn't forget. I was just going to see if you guys would say it.
Actually, you are supposed to say that, and I stole your line.
I know,
Sorry.
it's okay.
That's okay.
All right. We'll see everybody after Kansas. Thanks for being here.